Sure is on Julia Gillard to come up with an agenda and some policy ideas. Let's have a listen to what two key people from the past, but across the political divide, have had to say on that issue.
And this is the problem. You can't keep just drifting on. There needs to be a real policy that people can debate. With a hung parliament, you can't run the agenda you might want to run, but you still have to have an agenda. And I think we're all still waiting for her to find one.
She's very vulnerable to the sustained negativity of Tony Abbott. I think she has to take the risk, get on the front foot, put some detail on some of these objectives. I mean, they're good objectives. Putting a price on carbon, great. A national broadband network, great. But let's see the detail.
Now, is that fair criticism? Because it's a crowded agenda. You've got the Murray River, the Murray-Darling problem, you've got the climate change, the NBN, they're dealing with all of these issues. Taxation reform still to come, Brian?
Well, I think the problem is that it's not enough just to get back on the track they were on under Rudd. Politics moves on, but secondly, there is a feeling that...
Sorry, you've got to tidy that up, though, first
of
all,
before
you do move on.
You've got to do all that, but you've also got to look like you've delivered something, and you can't look like you backtrack every time the first whiff of grape shot, which she's done on irrigation. So these things get dragged off till closer and closer to the election. She needs to make some decisions and get out of the way, and then people need, I think, a feel that she stands for something. She's immersed herself her entire adult life, her entire waking life has been immersed in politics, but it seems she's never really given much thought to ideas in politics. It's all been tactical sort of stuff. I mean, who would have guessed that she would have backed Petraeus over Obama? Who would have guessed that of all the good models in the world for an education system, she chose one of the worst, the New York school model, because she was very impressed by this guy, Joe Klein. New York's gone backwards under him. It's, as the private school principals keep pointing out, what she's adopted is not suited to giving kids, equipping them...
debating the merit of it, but she's thrown it in there. And what she's been accused of not having an agenda.
Well, I mean, I'm saying that she...
And you've just given an example of something she has introduced.
But the agenda didn't come from her. She picked it up from this guy, Joe Klein, she met.
Where do ideas come from?
Best ideas are borrowed.
Yeah, but if you're in the Labor Party, you have some ideas over several years and you're going to be an education minister of what the debate's about. You would never ever have picked the New York school system as a model.
I disagree. Look, I thought that initiative of hers was actually smart on two grounds. One is true reform. If it's further backed by what she actually won't do, and that's give principals the power to hire and fire, I thought that was good. And this was something that she did as education minister, and it also appealed to conservatives, as does her words on Afghanistan.
Private school principals.
Just let me finish. The point is that she had an agenda, and I think now she doesn't, and she's flying around in the wind. The two big things she's picked on is the NBN and emissions trading. Both are in diabolical trouble. NBN is looking more and more like a white elephant, and emissions trading looks like something she'll be forced to do that people won't like. She does represent a policy vacuum, and the fact is, so much so that the gay marriage thing has come up from the Greens, and she's also getting this criticism, not necessarily just from the Conservatives, but from her own side. The Graham Richards, the Marker-Beards, the Laurie Ferguson.
But Phil, the NBN, do you think it's going off the rails?
No, not at all. And I just think I mean, they haven't been helped with this debate over the business case. It's a glitch. It's not a derailing sort of thing. Look, one of the things you've got to remember with this hung parliament is the government cannot control the agenda all the time. There's now hours set aside every week for the Greens, Uncle Fred, Aunt Mary and everyone else to shove in a bill and have a debate, and it has to be debated. Now, the Greens have an agenda that is going to be controversial at times. So does the opposition. They're going to put up bills just to make...
They haven't actually changed anything yet. They control the debate occasionally.
No, that's right. But the fact is it then diverts attention away from the government's agenda. We have to cover it. Everyone talks about it. And it forces the government to respond. It is just a consequence of the hung parliament. So Gillard, and she said this, she has to compartmentalise her job. She has to manage the parliament and try and govern.
Look, it's true.
And she's had 6 months in the job. She's had, a couple of months since the election. And I think she's doing all right at the moment. She's not kicking goals, but she's not... I don't think she's collapsing either. I think it's a very... I think she needs... I've agreed with John Howard. She needs another 6 months or so before he can make a